Hello everybody, I am Jedi Jack Penguin and welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars review. So today I'm really excited to be taking a look at set number 7961, Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. This set includes 479 pieces for the original price of $69.99 when it released on June 1st of 2011. Now this was my first ever representation of Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. I already have a review of the very first rendition of this model. One day I'll end up with the 2007 one, though honestly this is probably going to remain my favorite unless the 2024 version does something drastically different that makes me like it better. But for now, this one takes the cake. Looking at the box art, gotta appreciate that Captain Rex for the time. So beautiful, love this box art era for LEGO Star Wars. Spinning around to the back side, we get a look at the interior details, or at least some of the storage spots in this set and the cockpit area with your characters interacting. And you also get some advertisements for some of the other sets available at the time, as well as LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. Love that game. When opening up this box, you would get 3 numbered bags to build the set, in addition to your stickers and 2 instruction manuals. Looking from the front, you mimic the front of the box, back when LEGO made an effort. From the back of book 2, you get your Win Kid, LEGO Club, advertisement for LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. I remember this art. It's also interesting to see the 2005 Grievous when it would eventually change into the modern day one, the 2012. This was also back when LEGO made an effort to have some interesting artwork from the very back, featuring some of the January releases from that year. And we also get advertisements for the other summer sets. For right now, I don't have any reviews on any of these other sets, though eventually I will end up doing reviews for these. Specifically, this one I plan on doing this year for the Phantom Menace anniversary, and this is the only one from this picture that I don't own in my collection yet. I'm pretty sure this is our first representation of Qui-Gon Jinn since the 2007 disaster. Before that, we saw him introduced back in 1999, though he only had the yellow flesh tone, so to finally get a brand new Qui-Gon in 2011, this was definitely a dream come true for me. Now, speaking of this figure's design, we get those plain brown legs, which would later on be replaced with something with a print on it, which I definitely prefer. Torso print would be the same exact one that we would also see for Obi-Wan in that Pod Racer set that released alongside this one, which I just think is really weird that they did that, but of course they would later on improve upon that by adding the Jedi braid with his figure. We get a cape, don't see those in sets too often these days, and we get a recolor of the Qui-Gon Jinn hairpiece that was introduced all the way back in 1999. I love this hairpiece for this figure. Excited to see it return again this spring. We also get some back printing on this figure, which is an added bonus. And as for the facial expression, we only get the one facial expression for the character, which is a bit of a downside, though of course later versions of Qui-Gon would get more than one. Next up, we have Padme Amidala, which featured a brand new torso print for the time. And we also get a really cool hairpiece with her character. I believe we saw this hairpiece used before this minifigure. I'm not 100% certain, but it's definitely a really cool hairpiece nevertheless. And we'll remove it real quickly so you can take a look at the back printing. And then the other really interesting thing about this figure is that she includes a reused facial expression, that being the Hermione Granger head from the LEGO Harry Potter theme introduced the previous year, 2010. You get a smile from the front, and then a bit of a scowl from the back side. Honestly, I don't mind this facial expression for Padme. It would be really funny if this facial expression just continued to exist even past to the 2019 version of this Padme, though unfortunately that wouldn't be the case. This set would introduce Captain Panaka for the very first time ever in LEGO form, with brand new prints for the torso, facial expression, and even a brand new mold for his hat there, which looks really cool. I love this hat piece. I believe it's dual molded, or it might just be really good printing on this, even down to having that golden band pretty much all around. We also get some back printing for his character, and only the one facial expression. I also have to really appreciate the inclusion of those sand blue legs and those sand blue arms, which are really nice colors to get those pieces in. And then to round out our minifigure selection, we have the man of the hour, the guy who owns the ship, that being Darth Maul, featuring a brand new torso print and a brand new facial expression for the time, though Bricklink actually lists this facial expression as being the same exact facial expression that was introduced back in the 2007 set, and even that is the same facial expression introduced in 1999. I'm fairly certain that this was a brand new facial expression for Darth Maul back in the day, and that they're incorrect by saying that. Another really cool thing about this figure is the fact that LEGO introduced a brand new mold for the top of his head, which is something we've also seen on other characters like Darth Maul, like Savage Opress when we got him in that one set, also in this wave, which is really cool to see that they did this piece in 2 different colors in the same wave. Of course, if you're not a fan of this and you want to go back to a more classic look like the one that we saw back in the day, you can easily just completely remove that, and LEGO is also kind enough to include another accessory, that being the hood piece for Darth Maul, and I think that looks really nice, a classic Darth Maul look. Saber off to the side so you can take a better look at that torso print, and the full black design for this character even down to the cape. And I'll flip over that cape so you can take a look at the back printing. Something not really necessary as it's all covered up, though it does add some extra detail which I appreciate. With our minifigure selection out of the way, it's time to look at Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. Now this would be the 3rd rendition of this vehicle we saw when introduced back in 1999, and then again in 2006-2007, and then leading up to present day we saw a chunky one in 2015, and we're expected to see a new rendition this year in May 2024. Now as the first version of this vehicle that I have ever owned, this is the rendition that I always think about. I think it's an alright version of the Sith Infiltrator. I definitely would prefer to one day own the 2007 version just because that's the one that I had always wanted as a kid, though unfortunately I missed out on it. It retired, and this was the next best thing to get. One thing that I'm not particularly a fan of when it comes to this design is a lot of the exposed Technic, though of course a lot of that is really necessary to get a lot of the angles. For the time, they had a lot less pieces than they do nowadays. And then another thing that I think a lot of fans may not have liked about this set is the inclusion of so many stickers. You mostly see them from the top over here. You have some small ones off to the side on these cheese slopes from both sides, but then once you lift up this part over here, we have 2 more, which I guess it's nice to see them going the extra mile by including, I guess, the innards of the ship, but at the same time, is it really necessary? While we have this part exposed, I might as well talk about some of the different storage things going on over here. One of which being for our little probe droids, which I believe have the same build that we had seen previously for them, with the little lever on the top of the plain black headpiece. Those are just stored 2 of them right then and there. And if it wasn't enough that LEGO just stored them here, you also have the option to just plain old drop them from the ship by moving this little Technic lever over here, where you can see it just moves another small Technic piece out of the way to make it fall to the ground. Another piece stored over here is Darth Maul's little speeder, which I would guess is a nice little throwback to that first ever LEGO Star Wars set, which I will be reviewing sometime soon. Honestly, it's nothing really too special. You get the handlebar for your minifigure to hold on to, a nice spot from the very back to rest your minifigure's back, and no stud connection for the legs, which I guess is an added bonus just so then you only have the one connection there, and the legs won't get stuck to the vehicle. And you also get this round 2x2 tile to help it stand on the ground, which I guess is really nice just because of how thin this build is and how small it is. Placing that piece right back down, you may also notice that we have some flick fire missiles, which are in a rather terrible place in my opinion. Maybe it's better for kids than it is for adults, just because it's hard to get my finger in here and even get a good view of this. If you don't know how these work, you can flick them out into the distance, never to be found again. Unlike stud shooters and stuff like that, you don't get any extras of these, so if you lose it, you lose it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to this front section is that LEGO was kind enough to include landing gear, which you can also like fold up for when the ship is flying, though it's meant to be placed out like that when the ship is landed. And you'll see when we fold it right back up that the front will slim down a little bit more towards the ground. The back section of the set is probably my favorite part of the design, especially when it comes to the main cockpit area. You'll see some more stickers for the engines from the very back. And we also have our one printed piece, which is not exclusive. It also came on the previous rendition released in 2007 of the Sith Infiltrator, so it's really interesting to see that they had that print still in production, I guess. You'll also see the side wings, which are connected using different type of clip piece connections. These you can have out in the flight mode, or you can completely close them down for when the ship is landed. Now, to access the interior of this build, you have two parts that you can lift up. First being this top piece, which is connected using a clip connection, and then we have more clip connections down here, which also happen to lead to just sort of like a way to actually get onto the ship. Now, another thing you may have seen when I opened up that part is this loose piece here with the clip connection. Now, what is this supposed to be? This is supposed to be where we can store Darth Maul's lightsaber. Just take a piece off of one side and place it in the clip piece over here. And then the other one is just stored as is, placing the stud on the anti-stud. And you can slide it in very nice and easily right there, and you can also just close up this part a little bit easier there. Inside the ship, you'll notice that we have some studded room to sit your minifigure of Darth Maul. You have some more stickers for some of the controls from the sides, and you get a printed one from the center. And you also get some small little levers, plenty of fun little things going on for your minifigure inside this ship. So overall, for $70, the piece count for this set, 479 pieces, may be low for the price point, though I think you get a lot of value, especially when it comes to the minifigures, getting Qui-Gon Jinn for the first time since 1999 in reality, getting Darth Maul again, a figure that we hadn't seen since I think 2007 as well at that point. As for the ship design, I can't say for sure if it's a step up from the 2007 set, never having owned that one, though as the first rendition of this vehicle that I ever owned in LEGO form, it has to be one of my favorite versions. I'm really excited to see what they do this year in 2024 and see if they make it better than the 2015 one that I honestly was not a fan of at all. I definitely think the best part of this build has to be the main cockpit of the vehicle where you can place Darth Maul. I really love all of the little controls in there, and I especially think kids would have enjoyed that back in the day. And I also think it's really interesting to see that LEGO even replicated the inside of the ship in some way, shape, or form, or even just included spots where you can place other accessories that are included with this set. So yeah, that's all that I have to say for this video. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below what your thoughts are on this set. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't upload a new video. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye!